Hey, all. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the Shut Up, Get Up podcast. I'm your host, Mike Muldoon. And, well, here we are, end of 2022. And as always, it's that time of year, right? Time for many to make those New Year's resolutions again. But before we jump into 2023, I'm going to ask you to think back to the beginning of 2022. What were your resolutions then? Or more so, did you actually stick to them? Do you even remember them? Now, I know for me, one of them was starting this podcast. I mean, that much I recall. So resolution kept for me, though it took me 9 months to finally get around to releasing it. And another was to get in better shape. And I haven't managed to achieve that a little bit, though I'm not going to lie to you. I've slipped a little bit since taking the kids to Disney. And then, of course, we got into the holidays and got caught up on a little bit of things. But to be honest with you, even though I've managed to achieve a little bit better of a shape, it's not the level I envisioned at the beginning of 2022. But let's just say that after this year, I do think going into 23, I'm actually going to be in a better place to achieve what I hope to achieve, because at least through 22, I'd created foundations to do it, which will perhaps make me more successful going forward. So today, what I want to talk about are your resolutions and why when you make them, they need to be realistic and allow you to be easy on yourself in order to be successful. Now, when I said your resolutions need to be realistic, okay, it doesn't mean they shouldn't challenge you, okay? They should challenge you because obviously you want to set something that is going to better you. Now, it's funny with resolutions, right? Every year, millions of people set New Year's resolutions. And it's been reported that after the first week, up to 25% of people quit. That number drops to over 40% in 6 months. So let's just say 1 million people set a resolution. That means within the first week, 250,000 people have already quit. And by June, 400,000 have moved on. All right. So let's be honest here, right? When we set resolutions, each one of us, we all have the right intentions in mind, right? When we set these New Year's resolutions, like we firmly believe in that this is a year things will be different, and for most time, I only see another year pass and nothing has changed. So why is that? Laziness, unmotivated, or maybe, just maybe, though you believed in them when you set them, your resolutions were just so far-fetched to get there that one little hiccup in them gave you the license to quit. The goals were so insurmountable that it was just easy to quit. So let's talk about how in 2023 you might be able to avoid that. Now, New Year's resolutions can vary around a bunch of different things, right? But for the most of the time, most resolutions tend to revolve around health, right? Like losing weight, eating better, drinking less. And for others, it's around career ambitions, right? But to make this talk simplistic, we'll just stick with health. Yes, again, there's many other resolutions that people might make. But again, for simplicity and ease to follow here, we'll just use health. And more specifically, let's just look at weight loss, all right? Because loss of weight is a big one. Everybody in the winter wanting to get into that summer shape, right? And that's why, there's such a spike in gym memberships. They skyrocket in January. Though coincidentally, according to my chiropractor, Vizendi Chiropractic here in the area, it's also good business for them, as so many people who haven't been working out thrust themselves into the gym and overwork their bodies and then have to go find a chiropractor. So if you're going to do that this year, just be careful, all right? Just be careful. Ease into it. So the challenge, and again, with weight loss, why so many people fail at achieving it, is the goals and expectations a lot of times what they tell themselves to do to get there are, again, insurmountable. I hear people talk about it all the time, right? They've convinced themselves that come January, right, why they're just going through every bad habit in December, eating, drinking, not taking care of themselves, right? But they tell themselves, come January, I'm going to lose 30 pounds by February, right? And well, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to stop eating carbs. I'm going to hit the gym 5 days a week. I'm going to run 5 miles. I'm not going to do any drinking. And in some case, for smokers, I'm not going to smoke anymore. That's just all unrealistic. It's just very unrealistic that in one day you're going to go from 0 to 100. Especially when there's been no foundation to even build off of. And that's really where your resolutions are going to find success, when you've been sort of already had these foundations to build off of. And what I mean by that, again, let's look at health, fitness, weight loss. If you're somebody who does go to the gym, eats relatively okay, and had some pretty good habits, and then you decided, your New Year's resolution was going to be, in 6 weeks, I'm going to shred up. Well, that's a goal that's probably attainable, because after all, there were some foundations in place. Already going to the gym, eating right. So for somebody like that to achieve their resolution, it's more tweaks than leaps. Whereas if your gym membership's a week old, you love to booze, you don't even own sneakers, that 30 pounds off by February, and again, not to mention if you're also dealing with addictions like smoking, probably isn't realistic. And you're more likely to quit on your resolution. So that's why it's important with your resolution that you parse it into small steps and give yourself allowable time to see them through and understand that you might falter. And when you do, don't beat yourself up about it. So if you're somebody who really wants to lose weight and doesn't eat well, never works out, likes to booze a lot, make it a sprint, not a marathon. Now, you want to set goals, but maybe your goals aren't so big so quick out the gate. Maybe your goal in the beginning is, let's just set a goal that you're going to stop boozing, maybe one less day a week. And instead of saying, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week for 4 hours a day, maybe you just start going to the gym twice a week. And maybe you substitute one bad meal a day or skip one meal a day, right? Just starting there. And again, what I'm saying here is it's just baby steps. Start to build a foundation. So there you're building a foundation for starting to get used to working out, a foundation for eating better, a foundation for a gym routine, a foundation for better habits. You see, if you try to go all at once, then the minute you falter, you're just going to give up. Geez, I ate 3 slices of pizza today. I went to that party. I drank too much and I skipped the gym. I'll never lose those 30 pounds in the next week. So you quit. Whereas if you make it a marathon and you slowly build small foundations like we talked about and piece them together and give yourself room to fail. Okay, so here's the thing. You're going through January. It's been a little hard. Some days you're skipping the gym. Some days you're skipping the food. Some days you're doing this. But for the most part, you get back on it. You start going. You decide. You tell yourself, you know what? Look, I want to lose 30 pounds over the course of the next 6 months. Or maybe it's even over the course of the year. But give yourself some time to start putting these foundations in place and give yourself some time to fail. So again, when you eat that pizza and you had a bad week because you went on vacation, you're not going to feel all guilty and say, oh gosh, there it is. I've completely failed. I'm never going to lose this 30 pounds. I've only got 3 weeks to do it. I'm never going to do it. And then you quit. Make it a marathon. But that doesn't mean wait till the last minute to start running, okay? Set your goal, set your intention, what you want to do, but then understand you're going to give yourself a little room to falter, a little room to start, hey, I got to put these things in place before I do this. It's like a business, right? In this case, your business is your health. You just can't jump out to the product launch. You got to put things in place. You got to build up on it. And then eventually you get all these, these small foundations in place. And then from there, you're ready to go. And then from there, you'll start making bigger jumps, bigger jumps, bigger jumps. And then you'll find yourself finding the success you want. Again, using weight loss, the issue is nowadays you can't click on YouTube, flip through Instagram, or read any post on LinkedIn about something that states that if you don't make these goals right now, if you don't stick to them right now, and they're so militant about it, you're going to be a failure. Making you so feel bad if you slip up, that it's not worth to continue. You got to know yourself. Again, if you're coming from nothing and trying to go full speed, you're probably not going to do it. But if you're starting from scratch and you start putting little things in place, you're more apt to stick with your goal, understanding, look, again, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. I don't got 30 days to do this. I don't got 60 days to do this. I'm going to give myself 6 months. I'm going to give myself a year, because in the end, you're still going to be better for it. Yeah. It's, I'll tell you one little funny thing though. For me, I'm always looking for different workout routines. And right now I like the TRX systems right now and I enjoy them, but it's funny how many times I go to look at these beginner workouts for other programs. And literally it looks like you have to be in incredible shape to actually do those programs, right? It's like, all right, here's the deal. You want to get in shape in 6 weeks? This is what we got to do. 1 arm push-ups, 1 arm pull-ups, 700 burpees, 500 sit-ups, 300 press-ups, and you're going to be there. It's like, dude, I just started. Like, that's not happening. So again, guys, whatever you're choosing to do, maybe it's business. Maybe, you want to increase your income this year. You're in sales and you're like, you know what? Come January, I'm going to up my cold calls, 75 more calls a day. Is it realistic? If you're not used to making 75 phone calls a day, I don't know. Probably not. But maybe you're going to up them 10% from where you were the day before. And you're going to get used to that. And you're going to start building on that. Because you know what? You don't want to burn through opportunities, right? Especially in sales. Anybody understand sales and building your pipeline in your business and maintaining a level of customer service ultimately as well, is that you want to make sure the people that you're trying to bring on board here, you're also serving them right and not just burning through opportunities. So again, maybe there for you, it's, I'm going to increase those, those calls or those, those new opportunities, reaching out for new opportunities, but not in a place where it's like after the first day, you're just so burnt out. You're like, I can't do 75 new calls a day. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Build yourself up. But again, whatever your resolution is, if you're somebody who's going from nothing, going from 0 to think you're going to jump into 10, you're more likely to stick with it if you just find moments or opportunities in your resolution to just move about it at a pace that works for you. But understand, look, there is an end game here. There is a goal. My goal is to lose, again, weight, 30 pounds by June. Is a more feasible goal for you if you've never done anything. Now, if you're somebody who's been kind of moderately working out and doing things and your goal is, I want to lose 5 pounds in the next 6 weeks, well, you're probably more apt to do so because you've already got some foundations in places to do it. And again, even your resolutions don't even do anything radical. I mean, it could be something about just reading. You're somebody who wants to read more and, but you haven't been doing any reading. And then suddenly you set a resolution. Well, I'm going to read a new book, 1 book a week for the next 52 weeks. Well, that sounds great. But, if you don't, you might just want to start with, reading a book a month. Give yourself some time to just get into that. Maybe, hey, I got my resolution is I'm going to read 10 pages a day, and I'll probably give you a book a month. Again, that also just depends on your situation. I mean, if you're somebody who's got the time, then maybe a book a week is very feasible, and it's not very, a difficult resolution to hit. Whereas if you're somebody who's married, kids, job, and a bunch of other obligations, it might take you a little bit more. But then suddenly to dive in and say, but no matter what, all that stuff going on, and I barely have any time, I'm going to read a book a week. You might find yourself failing on that resolution. Whereas if you say, you know what, I got all this going on, but I really want to increase my reading. So I'm going to just start with 10 pages a day. And then eventually from there, as you start building up, you'll probably find you'll start doing more and more and more and finally build yourself to that book of week. But again, your resolution can be anything. I'm just saying, don't go from 0 and 10 without actually trying to figure out, well, what are the small little building blocks I can put in there to help me get from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to eventually 10. So with all this, people, first off, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We got it. 2023, here we come. But just remember, a resolution is defined as a firm decision to do or not to do something. So what it isn't is a time frame to get it done when you choose to do it. Okay? So keep that in mind. I want you to have your goals this year. I want you to set them, but I want you to give you room to understand, like everything else, we're human. And what works for me isn't going to work for you. Know yourself, understand that if you falter, or understand if, you stumble, you don't quit. You don't look at it and say, oh, this is insurmountable. I can't do this, because you've put yourself on such a short leaf. You just get back up and you keep going. Shut up. Get up.